Hi guys, so we're back for another video, doing another dynamic cover session. So doing bench. This time we're doing a close grip into bands. Same kind of thing before, 8 sets of 3. Should be hopefully nice and easy. If it feels easy, we might push it to 10 sets. So we're going to get started. And like we say, we've done before, we'll just have a quick chat in between. And then we're from the first 2 sets and the last 2 sets. Lovely, yes, they're feeling as it should really for a first wave. This is the first wave in this block. Why are we doing banded close grip? So basically, again, it's the idea of the bench. If it fails, it feels right here. So we're trying to work on the tricep strength and that last bit of lockout. A bit like we were with the close grip bar presses. We talked about in the other video. So yeah, go give a watch if you want to hear a bit more about that. So we'll film one more, we'll get going. So like I say, first one of the block, so you want it to feel fairly straightforward, trying to be quick, explosive. So if we can move through that position we're talking about much quicker, obviously you'll be able to hit more weights and get a bigger bench, which is not always the aim. As we build towards trying to get 200 kilo bench press. First 3 done. So we'll come back and just get the last ones. I think we go to 10 reps, so we'll get like 8 to 8 and 9. So we'll catch you then. So 2 sets left. Well, everyone's feeling good. Slowing down a little bit now. But not enough to call it there for speed work, so we'll see how these ones feel again. So it's going to be nice and explosive. Nice tricep pump while doing these, so always nice. Yeah, nice. One left of them. Oh. Oh. Yeah, perfect. Grip section. So we're going to some dead stop banded pin presses next. I'll see you for them. So up next we've got some banded dead stop pin presses. So the idea of these is that we're pressing the bar off the pins without any elastic response. So taking the downward part, the eccentric part of the movement out, so it makes it harder to get the initial press, to get the power out of it. We've set it at a height which is just below my sticking point, and then the bands are basically just making it even harder to get that inertia and making it harder to get the bar locked out. And like I was saying, the second, third of my bench is often where it stalls out, so we're making that part harder, a bit like we were with the chain block pulls in the other video, same kind of principle. This is the first time I've done it at this height. Actually, I've done it lower before, so we'll see how this goes. We'll come back from there. lovely. So 5 reps on that, very happy with 5 reps. I was in with somewhere between 3 and 5. I'm probably to feel like that first rep, it was really hard to break the inertia of the bands. And it actually strangely feels easier the more reps you do. But yeah, that's it. So we're going to do two more sets of that, and then some T-bar rows next. But like I said, so the idea of this is just working on the weakest part of your bench and just trying to make it as hard as possible, get you strong in that area. So yeah, see you for some T-bar rows. So next up we've got some T-bar rows, rag grip T-bar rows. An exercise that for ages I didn't do and I put back in recently and really enjoyed. I just did nice and heavy. So yeah, 100 kilos overall including the bar. I know some people don't include the bar weight, but I think as long as you do the same thing every time you do them, it doesn't really matter if you do or don't. It's just simply in my head. So aiming 8 to 10 reps. Yeah, like I say, I did put these in for ages and then put them back in a lot more wide grip row work, and it really helps. I know this isn't the widest handle, but you know, compared to doing a V handle, it's wide. So we're gonna go. Nice, that actually felt easier than I was expecting, which is really good. Yeah, 2 more sets of those, and then on to some Meadows rows. So Meadows rows up next. Again, great form of doing rows. Always doing the T-bar rows, just because everything's, I don't know, you can see my hands doing this, but it's just nice to set up. Going to use traps again, like I say, I just can't hammer home how I think as long as you do some grip work and you do some forearm work, using grips for your row work is really sensible because you're going to be able to lift more, get a couple more reps. It's going to make your back stronger, so why wouldn't you do it? Basically, and you know, just makes sense in my head. Lovely again, which is really nice, heavier than I've done before. So, you know, all my back work and bits like that are feeling really nice at the moment. So, yeah, really happy with that. So yeah, good. So we're gonna do some sled work next, and then we'll obviously video that, talk about it, and then go from there. But really happy with how everything's feeling in this session so far. Definitely feeling nice and strong. Right then, so next exercise is a sled, kind of like low row face pull, somewhere in between. Really good exercise. Like I was saying earlier, my back work, lat work, all that kind of stuff at the moment has been feeling fantastic. You know, it's never one thing in training that makes everything better, but a bit of everything together. But I'm sure doing more sledge stuff like this has been a real help. I think not only has it helped make me stronger in those areas, but it also really helped build the work capacity. So where as before I'd be, say, fatiguing quickly on like a heavy Henley row or something like that, which has prevented me from lifting my weight. It's taking much longer now for me to fatigue. So yeah, if we've got somewhere we can do sled tracks or any kind of work like this, I would highly recommend putting it in to your training. I'm just giving it a go. And again, you know, the body adapts to stimuluses. So if it's not something you've done before, that's like a new stimulus for the body to adapt to, which is always helpful, especially if you're away into your training journey and you've kind of lost getting it new gains anymore. Can be really helpful. So that's it, 2 more lots of 40 metres on them. When there's some tricep work. So next we've got some cable tricep extensions, one of my favourite tricep exercises. Really hard because the weight sits underneath you all the time and it's obviously quite unstable as well. Well, yeah, very happy with them. So like I say, they're all about just trying to get the weight below you while you're doing them and a bit of stability. So that's it for those. So last exercise of the day, again, with some forearm work. So again, that grip forearm work we talked about earlier, that I do, which means that I don't feel the need to not use wrap, stuff like that. I've got 30 some kilos on here. I'm just going to focus on rolling back. I hope you can see that in the video. Oh, lovely. So that's it for today's session. Very happy with how today's session has gone, but I'll see you in the next video.